Appreciate everybody coming out today. It's always a hard act to follow Coach Buchanan, but we're excited to be here. I know our guys are excited and probably looking forward very much to next Tuesday. Players are always excited about getting to play. I think this time of the practice, you're looking forward to playing someone else. Guys have put in a lot of time in the summer as well as the spring, and then certainly in the fall. And then we started practice a little earlier this year, which I particularly like because I think it gives you an opportunity to prepare for the first game quicker than we've had in recent years. We elected to start a week later rather than the regular starting time and only take 1 day a week off. And hopefully that'll bode well for us. But I know our players are looking forward to next week and getting started against outside competition. For us, it's really simple. It's about improving on the defensive end and being a consistent rebounding team. We've got some very good offensive players. We know they can score. They have great confidence in themselves. But we have got to be as determined. And for us, it's about an identity of being more physical, an identity of being better defensively, and then being a consistent rebounding team. We understand our level of competition as far as non-conference is concerned. We're excited about that schedule and the challenges that it presents and getting us ready for the American, which we know is an outstanding league, and everybody's talked about it. So we're well aware of the competition, but for us, it's got to start with what we do individually and as a group, and certainly that falls on me and getting our guys better defensively. So it's been a lot of fun to be on the court with these guys. They've been a great group. They've had a wonderful attitude. They've worked hard. They did a great job in the summer in our preseason conditioning program in the weight room with Coach Lewis, who does a great job for us. We've been certainly excited about the addition of Coach Estelle to our staff. He's brought a lot of positive enthusiasm to the practice court and with our players on and off the court. So we're looking forward to next week, to finishing up our preparation for our exhibition game against St. Thomas next Tuesday, and then getting ready for Texas State on Friday, which will be a tough opener for us. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
We have a microphone, please, so please use the microphone to get a question. Raise your hand. Get a microphone, please. John, you're on the left.
Coach, I wanted to ask you. You talk about you want to be better defensively. How does that play in though with the new with what you're getting in the new rules about what they're going to be calling with the hand checking and everything? How does that play? How's that all?
That's a really good question, and it's been an adjustment for our players. We had our supervisor officials, Curtis Shaw, come down. He actually got out on the court and was calling some fouls. We've had a couple of inter-squad scrimmages where we've had some officials that work in college, and it's probably going to be called a little closer than what they call it. It'll be an advantage, I think, for teams who can drive and who can hit free throws. And that's something we won't take advantage of, but we still want to be better defensively. We just got to show our hands more. Our players know that that hand checking, you can't put them on, especially when the guy's out on the perimeter making a direct drive to the basket. So and I think you're going to see a lot of long games early in the season. And it'll be interesting to see when television complains about how long the games are, how the game's going to be called. But it's not an emphasis this year. It's a rule. And so our players have to adjust to it. There's several things to look for. One, the hand checking. Another, the second lane on the free throw. When you're the offensive team, they're not going to let you dislodge that first position down there. We got that's been called on us in our inter-squad scrimmages. So we've got to be aware of those situations. They're going to call hand checking, arm bar on the post if you leave it on there. Certainly the closer you get to the basket, the more physical it's going to be. But out on the floor, you're going to see a lot of fouls. Teams are going to get in the 1-1, the double bonus quicker. It's going to be interesting to see how the consistency goes from the non-conference schedule into the conference schedule and on into the NCAA tournament and postseason tournaments. That's a good question.
What have you seen from your team in the scrimmages besides what you have to do defensively with working on the fouls?
We've been better at times. Defensively, I think the biggest thing for us is consistency. To have a consistent effort defensively, to be a good defensive rebounding team. Our guys are very unselfish. They enjoy sharing the basketball, and we've got some guys that have confidence in their own ability, which is a very good trait to have. But also, we've got to be able to share the ball and also move the defense so that we can get some easy baskets and get to the free throw line. But we've been pleased with the progress in practice. Greg. We can hear you.
You say all the time that you like this team. What is it that you like about them, the way they work with it,
Well, number one, I think we've got some quality young men. I think that's where it starts. Obviously, you got to have talent, and we've got some talented players, but we got some quality young men. They understand what the priorities are. They've done a very good job overall in the classroom. They are close off the court. They look out for one another. They're competitive on the court. They realize what our deficiencies were, what we need to work on, and they're certainly working toward that goal. And I like our level of talent. I think that we've got some depth at the perimeter positions, across the front line. We've got some depth as well. We've got to get some guys healthy between now and next Friday. But I like our level of talent, and I like the way our guys finished up last year in postseason. Certainly, we'd like to continue to win it, but I thought being in postseason was important to us, and to understand how hungry we need to be to get where you want to play in March.
James, at the end of last year, Tion had come on and got a lot of starts. I would assume he's again in the mix, but can you kind of give us an idea about that?
Well, I think we're
position,
deeper at the point position. When you look at Tion, you look at the addition of LJ coming in and Jerron Simmons. We're going to be deep, and the thing about those guys is that we can play them together. We don't just have to play them at the point, so it gives us some flexibility and depth on the perimeter where they can handle the ball, or they can slide off and run the wing as well. So I think the depth, the ability to handle the ball, and again, for us, it's got to start with the point of attack defensively. We got to be able to contain the ball. And I think that's one of the hardest things at our level in the game today is being able to contain the ball out on the perimeter and not force as many help situations, not let people turn to the corner, get to the paint, being able to flatten out the dribbler and slow them down in transition. Well, I think one of the things that has to happen with, in most situations when you have some seniors, you got to count on those seniors for some production and for some leadership. So when you look at Big JJ, you look at Tion, you look at Brandon, we need some production out of those guys. We need leadership. Obviously, it's been well documented about Tayshaun and Daniel. Tayshaun's first team all-conference last year. He's been a starter every year that he has been here. Daniel was freshman of the year, showed the ability to hit big shots, hit free throws, and what we've talked about him in the offseason, improving defensively, improving in the half court, getting the free throw line more, and then improving on rebounding. But we've got some other talented guys to go with them. When you look at LaRon Barnes, who was hurt and was coming off surgery, I thought this will be the first time that LaRon has been hurt. J-Rod has played well for us last year coming off the bench, and he's a strong physical player. And the two things that we've talked about him is just seeing himself something different than a three-point shooter, to be a complete player. He's a very good free throw shooter. He's got to get to the line. He needs to be a better rebounder for us, develop a mid-range game, and not just be a three-point shooter, because the majority of his shots last year were threes, and so he's going to get crowded on that line. He's going to get run off that line, and he's worked hard on his ball handling and ability to drive, get to the basket, get to the free throw line, and offensively, those guys can come off screens and post up and score. They're big, they're long. And then Brandon, at times last year made some big plays for us, and we need him, to come in. We're going to have some depth. Going back to your question a little bit, that's one of the things that concerns us a little bit with this new rule on hand checking. Is it going to slow the game down, where depth doesn't affect the game as much as it had in the past, because you could use the depth and run people in and out. But if you have 80 possessions, and out of those 80 possessions you got 62 fouls, then there's a lot of stoppage in play. So it's going to be interesting to see, how we can utilize our depth, because we think that we can play a lot of different players and a lot of different combinations. Yes, sir.
What do you say to your team about the level of competition that they'll face in your conference and those
Well, I really don't have to say much, because there's been so much said about the American. I mean, our players understand what we're going to get into in January. They understand that 2 out of the last 3 years, the national champions have come out of the American. When you look at Louisville last year, 2 years ago, you look at Connecticut, they have great respect for Temple, for Cincinnati, who were in the NCAA tournament last year. Those coaches are outstanding. We've got 2 Hall of Fame coaches in our league, and Larry Brown and Rick Pitino. So I don't have to really say much. I'm more concerned about where we start on Tuesday night, what we do next Friday night. And we've got some tough non-conference schedule. We've got some wonderful opportunities there. So that's how we'll focus on. But as far as the league, our players know, they realize the level of competition that we're going to have. 8 of the 10 schools in our league at one time or another in their history have been in the Final Four. So the tradition has been tremendous. I think this is going to be one of the great basketball leagues in the country, and I certainly think that this league is going to have an opportunity to get 5 or 6 teams in the NCAA tournament at the end of the year.
Any more questions, Coach Dickey?
All right, thank you all for coming. It's good to be with you.